In a move that has sent shockwaves through the region, Israel has reportedly eliminated key figures within Hezbollah's leadership. The strikes, which remain officially unconfirmed by Israel, are believed to have targeted individuals who assumed command following the assassination of several high-ranking Hezbollah officials last year. This brazen operation signals a significant escalation in the ongoing shadow war between Israel and the Lebanese militant group. Details surrounding the operation remain shrouded in secrecy, with neither side officially confirming the strikes or the identities of those killed. However, sources suggest that the operation targeted a new generation of Hezbollah leaders who were being groomed for future command. This suggests a strategic shift by Israel, aiming to cripple Hezbollah's long-term operational capacity by eliminating its future leadership. The strikes come at a time of heightened tensions in the region, with Israel increasingly concerned about Hezbollah's growing military capabilities. The group is believed to possess a vast arsenal of rockets and missiles capable of striking deep within Israeli territory. Moreover, Hezbollah's involvement in the Syrian civil war has provided it with valuable combat experience and strengthened its ties with Iran, its primary backer. The targeting of Hezbollah's leadership represents a high-stakes gamble by Israel. While it may disrupt the group's operations in the short term, it also carries the risk of provoking a wider conflict. Hezbollah, known for its staunch commitment to retaliation, is unlikely to let this act of aggression go unanswered. The recent strikes are but the latest chapter in a long and bloody conflict between Israel and Hezbollah. This conflict has seen numerous escalations over the years, each adding layers of complexity and animosity. The roots of the conflict can be traced back to the Israeli occupation of southern Lebanon, which began in 1982. This occupation was part of Israel's broader strategy to counter Palestinian militant groups operating from Lebanon. Hezbollah emerged as a powerful resistance movement during this period, dedicated to driving Israeli forces out of Lebanon. Over time, it grew not only as a military force, but also as a significant political entity within Lebanon. In 2000, Israel withdrew from southern Lebanon, but the conflict did not end there. The withdrawal was seen as a victory for Hezbollah, which only strengthened its resolve and influence in the region. Hezbollah, emboldened by its success in forcing an Israeli withdrawal, continued to pose a significant threat to Israel's northern border. The group amassed a substantial arsenal of rockets and missiles capable of reaching deep into Israeli territory. In 2006, a cross-border raid by Hezbollah sparked a month-long war that devastated southern Lebanon and parts of northern Israel. This war highlighted the destructive potential of the conflict and the high human and material costs involved. Since then, the two sides have engaged in a series of tit-for-tat attacks and proxy conflicts. These skirmishes have kept the border regions in a state of perpetual tension, with civilians on both sides living under the constant threat of violence. Hezbollah has used the Syrian civil war as an opportunity to bolster its military capabilities, while Israel has carried out numerous airstrikes in Syria, targeting Hezbollah weapons convoys and facilities. This has added another layer of complexity to the already volatile situation. The conflict between Israel and Hezbollah is not merely a bilateral affair. It is part of a larger web of regional tensions and alliances involving multiple countries and non-state actors. It is deeply intertwined with the broader geopolitical dynamics of the Middle East. The rivalry between Iran and Israel, the Syrian conflict, and the broader Sunni-Shia divide all play into the ongoing hostilities. Hezbollah is a close ally of Iran and a key component of its regional strategy. Iran's support has been crucial in enabling Hezbollah to maintain and expand its military capabilities. Israel views Hezbollah's growing arsenal and capabilities as a direct threat to its national security. The potential for these weapons to be used in a future conflict is a constant concern for Israeli military planners. The recent strikes must be understood within this historical context. They are not isolated incidents, but part of a long-running struggle that has shaped the political and military landscape of the region. They are a continuation of a long-running conflict characterized by mistrust, violence, and the constant threat of escalation. Each side views the other with deep suspicion, making any form of lasting peace seem elusive. The question now is whether these strikes will lead to a wider conflagration or whether the two sides can find a way to manage their differences without resorting to all-out war. The stakes are high, and the consequences of failure could be catastrophic for the entire region. The targeted strikes against Hezbollah's leadership have sent ripples of uncertainty throughout the Middle East. These actions have not only heightened tensions, but have also raised questions about the future stability of the region. The region is already grappling with a multitude of crises, from the ongoing civil war in Syria, which has left cities in ruins and millions displaced, to the resurgence of sectarian violence in Iraq, where communities are once again being torn apart by conflict. The potential for escalation between Israel and Hezbollah adds another layer of complexity to an already volatile mix. The border regions are tense, with military buildups and soldiers on high alert. One immediate concern is the potential for Hezbollah to retaliate against Israel. The group's fighters are preparing, and the atmosphere is charged with anticipation. The group has a long history of responding to Israeli attacks, and it is unlikely to let this latest act of aggression go unanswered. Past retaliations have often led to significant escalations. The nature and scope of Hezbollah's response will be crucial in determining the trajectory of the conflict. Strategic planning and military meetings are underway to decide the next steps. A limited, symbolic response could allow tensions to de-escalate, providing a window for diplomatic efforts to take hold, while a more aggressive retaliation could spark a wider confrontation, potentially drawing in other regional actors and leading to large-scale military conflicts. Beyond the immediate risk of escalation, the strikes also have broader implications for regional stability. The political landscape of the Middle East is already fragile, and any further destabilization could have far-reaching consequences. Hezbollah is a powerful actor in Lebanon, and its actions have the potential to destabilize the country's fragile political balance. Protests and political unrest could intensify, leading to further instability. The group's involvement in the Syrian civil war has also raised concerns about the conflict spilling over into Lebanon. The porous borders and the flow of refugees add to the complexity of the situation. The strikes could also embolden other actors in the region. Countries with vested interests may see this as an opportunity to assert their influence and pursue their strategic goals. Israel's regional rivals, such as Iran and Syria, may see an opportunity to exploit the situation and advance their own interests. This could lead to new alliances and shifts in regional power dynamics. The potential for miscalculation and unintended consequences is high, particularly in a region already rife with tension and mistrust. High-stakes military standoffs could easily spiral out of control. The international community has a critical role to play in preventing further escalation. Peacekeeping efforts and diplomatic interventions are essential to mitigate the risks. Diplomatic efforts must focus on urging restraint from all sides and facilitating dialogue to address the underlying issues driving the conflict. Mediation and peace negotiations are crucial to finding a sustainable solution. The stakes are high, and the consequences of inaction could be dire. The impact on civilians and the potential for widespread devastation underscore the urgency of finding a resolution. In the wake of the Israeli strikes, all eyes are on Hezbollah, waiting for the inevitable response. The tension in the air is palpable as both sides brace for what comes next. The group, known for its calculated approach to warfare, faces a critical decision. Will it opt for a measured retaliation aimed at deterring further Israeli aggression, or will it unleash its full military might, risking a devastating regional war? This decision is not just about military strategy, but also about political survival and regional influence. Hezbollah's leadership is acutely aware of the high stakes involved. Every move they make is scrutinized, not just by their enemies, but also by their allies and the international community. A full-scale conflict with Israel would be disastrous for Lebanon, a country still struggling to recover from decades of civil war and economic instability. The scars of past conflicts are still visible, and another war could push the nation to the brink of collapse. Moreover, Hezbollah's primary backer, Iran, is unlikely to welcome a major confrontation at a time when it is seeking to reduce tensions with the West and salvage the nuclear deal. Iran's strategic interests are complex, and a war could derail its diplomatic efforts. On the other hand, Hezbollah cannot afford to appear weak or indecisive. The group's image as a formidable resistance force is crucial to its identity and support base. The group's legitimacy and credibility, both domestically and regionally, are built on its image as a steadfast resistance movement willing to confront Israel. Any sign of hesitation could undermine its standing. Failing to respond forcefully to such a brazen attack on its leadership would damage Hezbollah's reputation and embolden its enemies. The group must balance the need for a strong response with the risk of escalating the conflict. Hezbollah's response is likely to be carefully calibrated to achieve its strategic objectives without provoking an all-out war. This requires a nuanced understanding of the regional dynamics and the potential repercussions of their actions. The group may opt for a limited symbolic attack on Israeli military positions or strategic infrastructure, demonstrating its ability to inflict pain without triggering a wider conflict. Such a move would send a clear message while avoiding a full-scale war. Alternatively, Hezbollah could target Israeli interests abroad, as it has done in the past, sending a message that Israel is not immune from retaliation even beyond its borders. This approach could serve as a warning without immediate escalation. Ultimately, Hezbollah's response will be dictated by a complex calculus of factors, including its own military capabilities, Israel's willingness to escalate, and the potential impact on Lebanon's fragile political and social fabric. The decision-making process is intricate and fraught with risks. The coming days and weeks will be crucial in determining whether the region is headed towards a wider conflagration or whether cooler heads will prevail. The world watches with bated breath, hoping for a resolution that avoids further bloodshed and instability.